Welcome to the Empowered Women Wellness Project YouTube channel. And today we are talking about a trending topic, seed cycling. So, if you've never heard of seed cycling before, Amanda, do you want to explain a little bit about what seed cycling is?
Sure. I feel like I was totally called out on that to you. Anyway, so I don't know if any of you are dealing with symptoms around your time of the month. So this is PMS symptoms maybe you feel a little bit bloated, maybe a little bit moody. There has been something called seed cycling where you welcome in specific seeds because of the nutrients that they bring into our bodies when we consume them that help to support our estrogen levels, our progesterone levels, and any symptoms that we might be feeling of PMS, of PMDD, of exhaustion, you know, the things that unfortunately happen to some of us during that time of the month.
So I had never heard of seed cycling until Amanda brought it up, and we were fortunate enough to have an amazing guest on the podcast who dove into this topic. And in turn, I looked into it a little bit more and was totally intrigued by the idea of seed cycling. When looking at your cycle, you have your follicular phase, the first half of your cycle, and your luteal phase, the later half. And the idea with seed cycling is you combine two types of seeds for the first half of your cycle and two types of seeds the second half of your cycle. And like Amanda had alluded to, the reason that we're using these seeds is because of the nutrients in them. So it's not like some woo-woo thing that we're just like, try this and it'll impact your hormones. It's actually because of the micronutrients that are found in these seeds. So for the first half of your cycle, starting with the first day of your period, you are going to combine 1 tablespoon of flaxseed and 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seed. Ideally, this is going to be raw, organic. You can grind it up. You can store it in your fridge and have it ready to go for the first half of your cycle. And you're going to combine 1 tablespoon of each once a day. And the idea is that the nutrients in those seeds for the first half of your cycle are going to help support estrogen production. We had both listened to a podcast that was discussing the idea of seed cycling, and I just thought it was funny and I wanted to share it here, the idea of estrogen versus progesterone. And
Yes.
and so how like when estrogen levels are high, that estrogen is like your best friend cheerleader who is like, you're glowing, you're beautiful. And then when progesterone kicks in the second half, that's your hormone where that's like your chill, yogi, like you got this, just relax, friend. And I just thought it was an interesting way to think about the hormones and those feelings that kind of fluctuate throughout the month. But anyway, totally sidetracking here. First half of the month, you're going to be focusing on 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seed, 1 tablespoon of flaxseed to help with the estrogen levels.
And the second half of your cycle, which is going to be your luteal phase, is when you're going to welcome in sesame and sunflower seeds. So 1 tablespoon of sesame, 1 tablespoon of sunflower, and that's going to support your progesterone or your Does that make sense though that you were the estrogen, the cheerleader, and I'm the
It does make sense, actually, very much so.
I think we were typecast in this.
Yeah.
Darren! No, just kidding. Anyway. But just like what Lauren said about the first part, the sunflower and the sesame seeds are going to help to balance out hormones. Those micronutrients are really going to do their job. So there's a few wonderful and simple ways that you can welcome them into your everyday life. You can bring them into your protein shake in the morning. Maybe you're using creatine in there as well. And then just add your seeds. Also, you can level up your salads, add them right on top. I love the taste of sesame seeds. I love pumpkin seeds. There's so many benefits. When you really start to look into the micronutrients themselves, there's just so many benefits. I'm like, why wouldn't we just do this all the time?
Yes, and for the second half, so with the sesame and the sunflower, those are the seeds that have nutrients that help minimize your PMS symptoms that tend to come on the second half of your cycle. So for anyone who is experiencing that, this can definitely help with balancing out your hormones and your PMS symptoms. Something else that I thought was really interesting when we were looking into this for our ladies out there who have either gone without a period for a little while, or you have an irregular period perhaps, you can actually, this is where it might sound a little woo-woo, but you can use the moon phases to coordinate when you're using your flaxseed and your pumpkin seed, or your sunflower and your sesame seed. So using the moon, the new moon is when you would be doing your pumpkin seed and your flaxseed. And then when the full moon rolls in, that is when you would do your
sunflower and sesame seeds. So it makes sense, right? I guess they are really a few weeks apart, and it makes your life a little bit easier, like what Lauren said, if you're a little bit irregular or if you're not getting your period.
And if you check the podcast episode, Kelly, who was our guest on there, she mentioned a couple of brands that actually pre-package the seeds. So if you don't want to do the legwork of finding your raw organic seeds, grinding them up and storing them in a jar, I make that sound like so complicated, like, oh, all this work that you have to do. Like, it's really not that much. But check the podcast, because there are some brands that do that all for you, which is always nice. I know we're all busy people, and that might simplify things just a little bit for you.
So if you want to learn more, go ahead and check out the show notes below. We're going to link that episode with Kelly Mendez. She's a registered dietitian, and I would say pretty much an expert in the field.
Yes.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's a lot of wisdom to share. As always, if you're having fun with us, please like, subscribe, follow, and maybe send this to a friend who would benefit from this episode as well. As always, Lauren and I are open to feedback, and we love hearing from you, so leave a comment below. Tell us how we're doing. Until we meet again, happy watching.